Welcome to Outside the Business Boxes podcast, where we're talking about how to ignite your business with systems, mindset, upgrades, pivoting for the future, and of course, marketing. I am your host, Chad Murray. Let's do this. All right, everybody, this is Chad. Thank you for spending the next few minutes with me and gracing me with listening to my probably very uncomfortable sounding voice. But, here we are today. So, what is our topic today? Our topic today is really speaking to the business owner that you've got to get out of your comfort zone. Everything's your fault, and stop crying about it, the world and stuff. So those are my three things I'm going to talk about today, and give you some insights, experience of what we're doing. So first thing, when it comes to wanting to move forward, I mean, the thing that I think most business owners are afraid of is that's exactly the words right there. They're afraid to do something new. They're afraid to spend a little extra money. They're afraid to lose a little extra money to learn. And that's the fact. Unfortunately, whether you have a business coach or you just try to do it yourself or someone give you some advice and mentored you, either way, not everything works. You're gonna have to make mistakes, and you're gonna have to, risk some finances, risk some time. You're gonna have to risk something to go forward, and that's hard for a lot of people. I mean, going forward and falling on your face is hard. I mean, people don't like that, but the fact of the matter is, the more successful people that fall on their face and they keep getting up and going. I mean, you hear this all the time. I mean, everybody successful almost went bankrupt with all the billionaires. They all went bankrupt or they did something, crazy bad to get to where they are. And so either way, I mean, I don't think Elon Musk went bankrupt, but maybe he did. I don't know. But I mean, a lot of these other people did, to get where they are. And they're not afraid to do that and fail and going forward. Like, so to bring it back to a non-billionaire me is, I built a business, we're $4 to $4.5 million. We're really trying to break that $5 million stuff. And so we're doing things that are very uncomfortable. I mean, I'm bringing on guys that we're starting a new division at Masters, and that's the we paint, and then it's also remodeling bathrooms and kitchens. And so our subs can do all that. They're great, and it's super uncomfortable. I'm spending a ton of money on leads, and we're learning the leads, and we're failing on getting leads. I mean, we are getting them. So I think we got 10 leads in bathroom remodels here in the last 3 days, and we booked 2. But hey, that's 2. And if we can get a 50% closing ratio, then we just sold the bathroom remodel, And so bathroom remodels anywhere from really 10 to 30 grand, depending, or even more, depending on what it is. So trying to really add things to my business. So what am I doing? I've risked, $8,000. Actually, it cost me $6,500, and I got a couple thousand free on a couple new not marketing companies, lead generation companies for bathroom remodels. And fortunately, I hired a guy that comes from that background, and he's sold bathrooms and kitchens for years, and he's super good, and he blew me away, and he's on straight commission only. And so I took a chance to hire, a bigwig type personality, and he's really sweet. And I actually got 2 guys on that can do all this kind of stuff. So we took on this challenge to do that, and it's out of my comfort zone. I don't know bathrooms. I've built a few bathrooms in my day, but I don't know the sales side of it. Like, I know sales process for fireplaces and chimneys, but I don't know the bathroom, and what are people looking for, how to talk to them in, how to get them financed, how to get them approved, all that kind of stuff. And so our company is in a big transition stage to still go try to get to 5 to 6 million chimney wise, and try to do 1 million this year, if not 2 million bathroom or kitchens. It's uncomfortable with me. I don't want to do that stuff, but I mean, we're trying to really get there. And I'm also talking. I own a marketing company, and it's uncomfortable for me to talk to other marketing companies. And I'm looking at talking to another marketing company to help me break through some of the marketing issues that we've had at Masters for years. And that's going to cost me some money. And I might fail. It may fail. But I'm doing things to keep going, and I'm not going to keep failing. I'm not going to do that. So, do you guys know the story of the Emperor Moth? I mean, so this gentleman in Japan, I believe it was walking and he saw this little cocoon and this moth trying to break through it. So he picks up the cocoon, takes it home, takes a razor blade, opens it up, and the moth emerges. And so the problem with it is the moth did not develop into the emperor. The wings and the torso or the body of it did not turn into big wings and a little body to fly. The moth never flew. Why? Because the struggle of getting through that cocoon is what pushes those fluids from the body pushing through a small space, pushes the fluids of the body of the moth to the wings and makes the wings huge and makes the body smaller. Since he helped the moth, he wasn't able to ever fly that moth because the wings are too small and his body stayed big. That's the same thing with us in business. You're gonna have to like struggle to get through some things to get somewhere so you can fly. And that's the thing that I think, I mean, really, really, when I talk to business owners, it's like they're always scared to spend money on marketing. They're always scared to try something new. They're always scared to come off a truck. They're always scared to hire somebody. One of the biggest excuses I hear is I can't train anybody. I'm sick of employees. They always screw me over. And then when you have that attitude, what's going to happen? You're going to hire people that screw you over, blah, blah, blah. If you give up and you stay where you are and stop trying, you're always going to be where you are. As a matter of fact, you're going to probably digress. You're going to go down. And if you do that, you're just going to not be where you want to be. And so this podcast is about scaling. My whole podcast in general, my whole body is to scale. And I'll be honest with you, frankly, full disclosure, we have not scaled in 5 years. Best year we ever had was 21, but since 2019, we had, was our last great year until 21, but 21 was that easy year. Everybody had money, after COVID and all that kind of stuff. But 22, 23, and 24 have been a struggle for us. It has been an uphill battle. And I'll tell you why. I didn't try new things. I kept trying to go off of what we did in 2019 and we weren't trying new things. So now we're trying new things. I'm trying to make chimneys better, but I'm also realizing that, come April, May, and June, March really too, is that our chimney business cannot support our cash flow. So we lose money. Now, I had a great March. Well, I mean, not great March, but we didn't lose that much, if not any. We're close to breaking even, which is a good March for us. We usually lose money in March, and we lose money in April, and we lose money in May. June, we always either break even or make a little bit. July, believe it or not, make money, make a little bit. And last August, I made money. So I got 2 months to try to get some offsetting money. And that's where the painting and the remodeling thing comes into play. So we're trying to do that. And if we make a whole new division and I got the subs that will not hinder, my chimney business, that they can get all this work done. So that's our model. That's outside of the norm. Nobody in the chimney industry is doing what I'm doing. I mean, more than likely, and that's fine because I'm my business and I'm surviving on my terms. What I have to do to keep my business solvent and start, scaling. And so this is the year we scale. Meaning we're going to learn this year. Maybe we do only 4.5 million this year. Maybe we do, but I promise you this: what we learn this year is 5 to 7 million next year. But I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping we can really generate stuff here. So learning how to get the leads and then learning how to sell them. I think we got the sales side down from the pedigree that I've hired. Now I just got to get these guys fed. I got to give them some leads, but you can't be an Emperor Moth. You can't, by the way, you've got to go through these struggles to go there. Nothing's easy street. That easy button commercial, that's a parody. You know that, right? Back then, whenever that was the easy button, there's no easy button in business. You've done stuff that was easy because a lot of times the easy button is for when you did it because you made it easy and you did it for yourself. You did it to make a living and you never thought it was hard because you know your niche. You are the master of your business. And so you know how to do that. Well, you want to go to the next step. You're going to have to trust people. You're going to have to hire people. You're going to have to do all that. And you're going to have to start being a moth. You got to put other, and that, okay, this is kind of not a topic I was going to bring up, but let's talk about it a little bit. You have to also treat your employees like the moth, too, the Emperor Moth. You got to train them what to do, but you can't solve all of their problems. You have to get forward thinkers and people, and you have to put them through the cocoon. They have to really start understanding how to solve their own problems. If you answer everything, you're just going to get robots, and you're not ever going to really be able to scale past whatever their limited abilities are going to be. And that's the facts. And so, I mean, I think at Masters a lot of times, my chimney company, I mean, we're kind of there where we're solving everybody's problems, and we're not really teaching them how to solve the problems themselves. And we're getting out of that. I'm taking the sales department and I'm training them enough of what to do, enough about the chimneys, about that, and then I'm asking questions when they call up. Hey, did you happen to look and see that thing up? What's up with this, or what's up with that? When I see something, so we are really trying to get into the curiosity stage, and so that they can cocoon through and blossom into better sales guys. So that really is where you want to start scaling. So, by the way, if you don't want to scale, this podcast is not for you, because I'm always going to talk about scaling, and it is okay if you don't want to scale. That there's nothing wrong with that. If you like your life the way it is, that's fine. But I come from the school of I want to scale to get you out of your business, at least where you're not running it, so that if you ever got sick like me, when I lost my appendix and I went bankrupt and I lost everything except for my house and one car and one truck, lost everything. This was 21 years ago now, and it was devastating for us. Best thing that ever happened to me, but it was devastating. So I literally started up and I grew my company. Literally the first year, got it right back to even bigger than I had it before, because I did some studying on how to scale a business and run a business a little bit better. I did it that way, and within 5 years, I was out of the business, meaning operations. Now, of course, I still have a beat in my business, but I don't work there. I don't even have an office there, and that's where I believe most people, when they will want to get to. And I mean, when you become 50 and you're still climbing ladders, and you become 60 and you're still climbing ladders, and your business isn't worth a dime to sell, well, you might want to rethink that now if you're listening to this, if you're in your 30s and 40s, because that's where you do want to go to your business. You want to make it worth to be able to sell, get it to 15 to 20% profitability, and scale it to where it is you take that profitability and it comes EBITDA times 2 3, and now you have a little bit of cash when you go to sell it and retire. So that's been my retirement plan my whole life, and I've done a piss poor job on the in the last 5 years, and so we are emperor mothing everything right now. And so the next thing, I talked about this in a podcast recently, is everything is your fault. The good is your fault. The bad is your fault. And I will take responsibility for everything I do and my guys do, because I didn't catch them doing something wrong. If I don't catch them doing something wrong, how is it their fault? It's my fault. Whether it be good or bad, whether they did something on accident or they did it on purpose, either way, they did something bad. Like, I'll tell you, I caught the new guy with one of my old guys. They went to an inspection, the chimney inspection, and the lady, as soon as they opened the door, looked at him and said, "You're not going to clean my chimney. You're dressed too nice." Which compliment, right? Our guys are dressed too nice in uniforms, and of course, we were going to clean that chimney that day, and if it passed code. But she sits there and she's talking about my guys like that. Well, anyway, they get into the inspection, and I notice, well, okay, they leave, and she doesn't buy the repairs. And I look at it and I'm like, why didn't she buy the repairs? So I talked to them, and then I call the lady up. I listened to the call, because she was talking a little about the call center, what they said. The call center's call was perfect. Call center did their job immaculately. I really loved what they did. She did a really good job, Amanda. And then the guys out in the field, they did a great inspection until one big thing was missing, and they told me they missed it because the chimney was so dirty that they kind of overflowed, but the lady was like right on their heels the whole time, and they got flustered. So it was a learning moment. I said, listen, flustered or not, you got to do your job. And they missed the parging, and they missed. But I will tell you, in the pictures, if you're flustered, I can see how you might see it. That this sucker needed a PCR, which is a stage 3. So if you're not in the chimney business, this is a little chimney talk. Essentially, a big part of the chimney is right above the damper. There's a smoke chamber, there. That's where the compressed air occurs and shoots up the chimney. It's pulled and pressed by the fireplace, out atmosphere inside the house and outside pushing or pulling. So anyway, you compress the air right there and it leaves. And if you don't have it smooth, it's really turbulent and causes smoke problems and blah blah blah. Well, if you see stairs like upside down stairs leading up to the flue where it compresses, that's bad. Well, this lady's soot was so bad, you could see it, but it really shouldn't have been missed. But I can understand. So what we're doing clearly is when we do the PCR chemical cleaning, because we have to clean the stage 3, can't be done with the normal cleaning. We will then address the issue at that time, and I told them how we will do it so we can save face and blah blah blah. And so we trained them, but I did teach them, and I did ask them. I tried to teach them a little bit. What did you miss? What did you miss? Look at the pictures, and they weren't getting it. So I had to unfortunately cut the cocoon open, and hopefully it's a learning moment that they'll remember forever. But anyway, my fault, my fault. And so I did train them at that time on how you should sell the PCR. And then I called the lady up and I saved it. I got the PCR, saved face. It was really nice to the lady. Talked to her a lot, explained to her. She said, well, why didn't you say that your chimney cleanings could be anywhere from 325 up to 1500? And I said, ma'am, because PCRs are not that common, and I'm not going to tell everybody that's up to 1500. You can understand that. I mean, you haven't had your chimney cleaned ever, and you're a retired lady, and been using your fireplace every day in the wintertime for 40 years. So yes. And so anyway, she was at the point she needed chemical cleaning. So I had explained to my guys how to do that. So anyway, I saved face. I got the sale back, and we are doing it next week. So anyway, but it was my fault. I take full back to what the point is. It was my fault. I needed to retrain my guys. I needed to make sure that they did right. The call center did a superb job. And then they kind of boo-booed on the sale and they got flustered. So I had to tell them, when you get flustered, you still have to do your job properly. Doesn't matter. The chimney tells the story. So like if you're not a chimney company, you got to have your models to save face. What is your you know model for your company? What is your taglines and all that stuff? And ours is the chimney tells the story. And I should, in this case, chimney tells the story. Not even when the lady's on your ass, watching and really kind of being a pain in the rear, but it is what it is, right? So anyway, the next thing is I hear a lot, and I fell victim to this in the fall. We had a shit fall, terrible fall, and I used to laugh that there's no such thing as a bad fall, because the bad fall we always had, we still made a shitload of money. Didn't make any money this fall. It was a bad fall. We really had a bad fall at Master Services. It was hot here. Okay, so here we go. Here's the here's the crying about everything, and I should have fixed this earlier. Yet I let the conditions dictate and let the world dictate me to accept the bad thing happening at the time. Okay, it's hot out. Even though we were booked out a week, which should have been it. Nobody's buying right now because of the election. It's 80 degrees. It's November. It's this, it's that, it's blah blah blah. And what did I not recognize? My guys were doing a terrible job out there. They were not inspecting good. They are not up to par. They just went through a summer where they had an awesome summer, and then something clicked come wintertime where they just fell off the cliff. And so I started thinking, okay, what in the hell are we doing? So I actually saw this clip. I want to play this for you here real quick. It's from The Rock, the movie The Rock. And if you have kids, muffle the kids or fast forward this like 10 seconds, because this just really, really made me laugh and think about it's your fault and stop whining about stuff. So here we go.
You sure you're ready for this? I'll do my best. Your best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Carl was.
So I know. The reason I love that so much is because you got to have that win-win-win attitude, and you have to coach the win-win attitude into your people. And so I think a lot of people forget, that we're out there, we're changing lives. I don't care if you're a pressure washer or a window cleaner, a maid service, a chimney company. We're a service company. What is service? I mean, really, literally look up the word service. I mean, we're servitude to the people that hired us to do a job to make their lives better, right? That's what we do. And so you have to look at it as you got to do it at your best, and you got to act like you win, and you are the best at what you do. Because if you act mediocre, you're going to be mediocre, and everybody below you is going to be mediocre. So the last thing Sean said there is you got to act like you went home and did what? You're doing that. Meaning, and I know that sounds vulgar, but the fact of the matter is, you got to walk the walk. Like you're going home with the prom queen, and that's it. Which is funny because my daughter, who's actually in the kitchen right now, can hear me. She couldn't hear that tape, but she's going to prom tonight, and so get to take a bunch of prom pictures tonight. So anyway, yeah, but really, 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 you got to walk the walk, and you got to show the walk to everyone below you. No complaining. All about good, all about wins. When they do something wrong, you got to say it. You got to tell them they did it wrong. Try to be curious, be Ted Lasso. And if you've seen the Ted Lasso dart scene, I may have even played it on a podcast recently, where he it says he's throwing darts and tells the guy, if you were curious, you'd know that I played darts, from 10 years old till 16 years old. My dad at a bar every Sunday, and he's nailing all the darts to win the game and the bet, whatever. And so that's the same thing with everybody here. Is you got to be curious in sales. You got to walk the walk and really put forth an effort to get everybody else to be their own little business owner in your business. And so get them to where they believe they have their own ownership, and then there's no more excuses. No excuses. The excuses are mistakes that can be happened, and then everybody learns from them. And it's good to make excuses, or it's good to not make excuses and learn from them. I mean, and the way to do it is really be curious, ask a lot of questions. When you make a mistake, own up to it, fix it, and move forward. And then retrain and retrain, 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 and retrain. If you're not a broken record, if you haven't said the same thing 100 times, in a month, well, that's why the people aren't doing it. That's repetition. I'm going to move into the last thing we'll talk about today is repetition. Small business owners hate meetings. You're not used to doing them. They're uncomfortable. You don't like to role play. You just hate doing it. Why? Because you didn't need it. Guess what? Your employees need it. Every one of your employees needs a meeting. Even if they hate it, you hate it. And you don't talk at the meeting. You got to have a structure to the meeting. If you read Traction, the book, you'll get a great structure on L10 meetings. But if you don't have that, you can do, you just got to have a 30-minute meeting and write down what you're going to do as the type. Begin first 5 minutes. How's everybody's weekend or week going? Next 5 minutes is updates that's happening at the business. The next 15 minutes is about everything that is good, bad, and the ugly. The last 10 minutes is about what are we going to do about the good, bad, the ugly, and then the last 5 minutes is go out there and win and talk about today. I mean, that's an easy little outline, and then you just got to fill it in every week and do it. Now, the bigger you get, more meetings. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add another sales meeting to my company this week. They don't know it's coming, but we're going to be doing another sales meeting, not just one a week, 2 a week. and we're going to make sure that we are learning and repetition. We're going to talk about stuff, and they're going to make sure that I drive it in their head and they never forget it. And if you go to any big company, and especially a company that does sales, you go to a sales meeting, they are driving in repetition constantly. And role playing is a big part of it. And if you're not role playing with your guys, then how do you know they're not doing it right? Especially if you're not recording them. And I guarantee you said, well, how come they can never be like me? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they watched you do it for a training period and then they never saw you do it again. Think about that. I mean, they're going to develop their own style, their own everything, and you want them in a sales process to do that, 100%. But they need to follow the process and add their fling to it, not have their own process and forget about yours. And then you're the Wild West out there, and now you start having bad sales, and you're like, why aren't they doing any better? You go out and watch them work, and guess what? You're like, where did you learn this? Who told you to do that? Why aren't you like me? I'll tell you why. It's your fault. It's your fault. They developed their own sales process because you didn't constantly talk about your sales process. Okay? Think about that. You, as a business owner, need to become a broken record. If you're not, this is why your people are always not doing what you say to do, because you're not reminding them constantly of how to do their job right. And then some things will become what you call culture. Like I'll give you an example. Like, I don't have to tell people to take pictures at my business anymore. And it took me 2 years to drive it in. I fired people for not taking enough before and after pictures. And so now I don't talk about pictures at my business anymore. It became standard procedure and custom to do it all the time. It became part of our culture. So I no longer have to repetitively drive in the thought, where's your pictures? You got to go back and do more pictures. You got to go back and get this picture. You got to get the after picture. I don't do that anymore. I don't have to. It's so ingrained in my culture that in my SOPs, and it's not even a written SOP. It probably is, but I mean, still, it's nowhere no one ever sees. We just talk about it in the training, and then it gets done. And so, of course, we have processes for them to add the pictures and what they have to have when they do that. But that, it all works together. But the main thing is they had it so repetitive that now I don't even talk about it. And that's what has to happen with you with everything else. Some things will never come off that list to keep talking about it. You're just going to always have to talk about stuff. And, it's also a gauge of if you have the right people. Think about it. If you have people not doing your stuff constantly, I mean, why are they working for you? Think about it. Why? If you have to keep pounding your head and get these people to do stuff and they just will not do it, why are you putting your drama through this and keeping them working for you? You got to have a target date that if this doesn't start happening, and you don't have to announce this in your mind, if this doesn't start happening, I'm going to have to do some thought process of exchanging these employees for new ones. And so that's just what you're going to have to do. I've done that at Masters for years. And so it does help. And so it's one of the reasons why we don't really ever go down in sales. We only stay the same or go up a little bit. And we're really upping our game too. So, all right, guys. Well, we're sitting here at 29 minutes. So, I mean, thank you everybody for listening. But remember, everything's your fault. Take and own that. Okay. Make sure that you let everybody squeeze through the cocoon. And remember, be a winner, because winners win and winners make money. All right, guys, that's my time. Thank you.